Keith Smith is joining me today. Keith is a salary cap expert and a contributor to Spotrac. He's the co-host of the NBA Front Office Show, and he's here to help me rank the teams currently in their championship windows. And Keith, I thought we could do a draft of teams from windows that are the closest to closing to windows that are most open. So in other words, like the first pick in this draft might be the team you think has the closingest of the closing championship windows, the team with the most pressure maybe to win a championship this season, or they might not have a chance going forward. So we did a coin flip before we even started. You called heads. Heads was right. Just so you know, I have not won a coin flip in now like 2 months when I'm doing these things. So the streak is alive and well here. So congrats on winning the coin flip. You have the first pick. Go ahead. Let's jump in.
Yeah, so it's interesting when you think about this, right? I like the premise of the idea of like who's got pressure to win because their window's probably not going to be open super long. So that there's a couple ways I think through it. I think through obviously age is a major concern, but I also think about the cap situation, like how long is it tolerable to be in whatever situation they're in, or wherever it's at. And then I think about also what's around that is like, are they even really a title contender? Like, there's a lot of teams that are going to be good, but are they truly title contenders, or where are we at? So then I started to build out my list a little bit, and the team for me that I'm going to take off the board, number one overall, the Phoenix Suns. And the reason why is you have age-related concerns with Kevin Durant. Even a guy like Yusuf Nurkic is starting to get up there a little bit for, guys, a key part of the Suns rotation, really the only real viable starting center that they have on the roster. Devin Booker's not old by any means, but Bradley Beal is not old yet, but he's kind of like plays old, like, because he's always hurt and those kind of things. And then wildly expensive. So I think we're really with the Suns. We're on like year 2 of what is probably at most a 3-year window with this experiment. Does KD want to see it through? Is KD a guy we've seen him at times say, maybe I want to go try somewhere else and do something different. And like I said, I don't know how long that ownership group and front office is going to be able to say, hey, let's stay, miles over the second apron with this. And that could be where this all, comes crumbling down almost as quickly as it all came together.
The Suns is a great call. And for the record and for our audience, the reason I thought of you for this episode is because you're so like locked into the contract stuff and the cap stuff and the second apron that does impact lifespans of teams and stuff like that. So I'm very excited to kind of get into the nitty gritty of that stuff with you. But also, like, part of this exercise is just determining who the real contenders for this season are. And maybe I'm overlooking Phoenix, but I don't even have them on my list. I have 8 teams on my list that I'm picking through here. Like, my big board is 8 teams. How many teams do you have, like, in sort of your contender tier?
I think I had 9.
So maybe that's the only one that's different.
It could be. I might have another one slid in there that might be different. But yeah, it's I have no, I'm sorry, I have 10.
Okay, so there's a mystery dark horse team out there.
Yep.
I think I have an idea of who it might be, but maybe I'm just being overly harsh on Phoenix. It's a great first pick because you're absolutely right. Like, not only is the salary cap an issue for Phoenix, not only is age an issue for Phoenix, but also the question of like the flight risk of their star players, not just Kevin Durant, but like at what, like, I don't mean to start the speculation on this because there's no reporting on it, but at some point Devin Booker's got to look around and just be like, what the hell's going on here? Yeah. And I think there's definitely some flight risk with all that stuff too. So yeah, it just does feel like the Suns have so much pressure, and it's tough to have that much pressure and clearly not be as good as some of the other teams on this list, which is really going to hurt them in terms of hitting this window the right way. But yeah, maybe I'm being too low on them because their ceiling certainly is contender status. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Yeah, I think with the Suns too, I don't put too much weight into this, what the team thinks of as themselves, like if they fancy themselves contenders. But to me, if you're so far over the, never mind the tax and first apron, you're so far over the second apron, you can't even see it anymore. You better be a contender. Otherwise you're doing it all wrong. Like you have, bungled this thing beyond, comprehension. So that's kind of why I have them in there. Yeah. If we were just ranking like title favorites, they would not have been my top choice at all. They would have been further down the list. Of my 9-10 teams, they might have been 10th, or or maybe ninth. But I think, in terms of what they're trying to do over the next few years, this is where I feel like they're trying to contend. And I feel like it's a super short window.